A warm welcome back to the Forensic Detailing channel. My name's John McClure. You may have seen me from movies such as The Snow Formulation, The Time Forgot, and Journey to the Centre of the Bucket. Today we're back with our iconic Hall of Fame wax series. So we go into the magic wax cooler cabinet to reveal our next Hall of Fame wax. What's it going to be? Dun, dun, dun. The legendary Soft 99 Fusso coat. And I'll just bring these ones down here as well, just because they're going to add to our little story. So let's start with the history of this iconic Japanese performance durability wax, extreme durability. Now, this wax became popular in the UK, I think about 10 years ago, through word of mouth. People started using this Japanese wax that looks very exotic, but straight away they noticed a couple of things with this wax. Is one, it beads like crazy; two, it lasted a long time; and three, it was relatively affordable. Indeed, back then it was around £20, maybe even less than £20 when I first encountered it. Okay, so it's you know, 10, 12 years on, it's now about £30, which is still relatively affordable, isn't it, for a paste wax? So word started spreading that there was this exotic Japanese wax called Fusso coat that would last up to 12 months. You know, and indeed, the thing that made this product go viral was people that used it were actually reporting really good durability out of it. And, you know, maybe up to 12 months. I had 9 months out of the old Fusso wax on my black T5 van, and that was incredible. So it was known as like the best you could get durability-wise, without going into the full ceramic coating kind of genre. Now, let's just talk about some other things. They have a dark and a light version, which causes everyone to go into blind panic mode when they're buying this, because they think if they get the wrong one, they're in trouble. It doesn't really matter. Say if you've got a black car and you buy that one, you put it on, you're going to be absolutely fine. It's just like putting a wax on. Vice versa, you've got a white car, you put the black one on. It's not like this wax is all black. In fact, it's a light coloured wax. Really, there's just some slight formulation tweaks that on darker cars you tend to see the swirls. So the black dark product has a bit more fillers, and I don't know what the lighter one has. I think, in my opinion, that just one wax would have just been easier, really, and they should have probably gone down that route, but they haven't. But don't panic too much. If in doubt, just get the black one. I've used it on white cars. Now, there is also another thing in the history of this wax is that about, 4 or 5 years ago, Soft 99 updated the formulation with the new Fusso coat, and I think it was for European markets. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know all the ins and outs of this, but I think in Europe, some of the ingredients that are in the old wax, the stronger solvents and stuff, I don't think you're allowed to use them in Europe. So they had to change the formulation and take some of those stronger solvents out, and I'm guessing, so if I got that wrong, apologies, and replace them with something, and typically you'll replace them with oil. So this version of the Fusso wax is a little bit more oily, perhaps a little bit easier to spread, doesn't cure quite as hard, but doesn't, in my opinion, last quite as long as this original version of Fusso wax. So I went and bought 2 tins of the old one, which will last me a lifetime, but I've got the new one as well, and it won't really matter, so don't worry too much about the old or new. You know, now we're going to use the old one because that's the sort of this is all about nostalgia for me, and you know what happened, you know, and the history of this, and you know, me kind of using it for the first time. This is kind of the one that I had. So with this, you get a wax applicator, and I think they've updated these because they were a little bit of, oh no, I think it's, I don't know what it is, but they were a bit kind of tough and stiff before, so they've got a slightly denser, softer foam applicator, which fits the tin perfectly. And my tip is, after you've used this, or before you use it, go and scrub out all of the old dried wax and just make it damp. And this is actually damp. Can you see? Can you see there? So it's ready to kind of use. Now the wax itself, let's just get that lid off, which is going to be really, if I can do this with one hand, that is like elite ninja skills. I don't think I can. I can't do it. Hold on. Oh, I did it. Right, well, kind of 1.5. So let's just open this up. Oh, is this? No, this has been used. Yeah, I have used this wax, just not very often actually. I'm just going to kick out all of these crumbs because all those little crumbs will go, you know, they'll form as little bits. So it's quite well poured. There's no cracking in it. And there's a tiny little bit of shrinkage around the edge, which is why you've got those little bits of wax in there. Now with Fusso Coat, a damp applicator can also help, or you can put it on dry. They say, you know, be careful not to use too much. I think they say spread your final pass in a crosshatch to make it easier to kind of buff off of the panel. I've never really thought Fusso Coat was a difficult wax to apply, but if you hurl it on, again, that golden rule, let's just give our little applicator a prime. If you hurl it on, you know, it can be, a dry curing wax can be harder. Any product that gives you durability, you tend to just need to be a little bit careful with how much you put down, how long you leave it and all that sort of stuff. So I've got some little bits of hard wax in there. I should have probably just gone and give this a scrub out, this applicator. It's just bits of harder wax making those marks. Put it on thin though, guys. I want a little bit more product. Hold on a second, sorry. I want just a bit more product. You can't get the downward pressure when you're loading up the wax applicator with one hand, so I don't think you get, you know, you don't get the right amount of wax on the applicator pad, so this is a bit better. So now I've got a good distribution there. You can work that wax, but this would fall into the category now of using a lot of wax, but it's fine. I'll spread this over the whole roof. I'd keep this wax away from rubber trim as well and stuff like that. You know, if you do get any on there, wipe it before it dries. If it dries, just go at it with a sort of mineral spirit cleaner. Built Hammer cleanser fluid is good for that sort of stuff. It's hydrocarbon, you know. So now, where we are now with this, that's the perfect amount on the applicator. So we're putting a really thin amount. That's a thick amount that will be harder to buff. And this particular wax, one of the controversies about this wax was because it lasted so long, people were like, hang on a minute, that's not a wax, it's a sealant. This product is backboned with wax. It comes in a tin, it is a wax. Fusso call it a wax on their SDS. So it is a wax. A wax is a wax. You know, if it looks like a wax, it's a wax, even if it's synthetic wax. There's various definitions of what constitutes a wax, and sometimes it could be the use of organic waxes as a backbone, like carnauba or paraffin or montan or beeswax or whatever. If it's backboned with organic wax, then it's a wax. That's quite a good definition. But this product, of course, is known because it contains fluoropolymers, or versions of the family of PTFE, which is a low slip, very hydrophobic material. So mixed in with this wax blend is fluoropolymers. Now, and also a heavy aromatic solvent, like kerosene smell to it when you use it. So it's quite an industrial product. With that durability and performance comes an industrial feel, a very strong industrial smell of kind of like kerosene, you know, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, some people don't like that. So it's the opposite of like a show wax, which is all boutiquey and oily and might smell of kind of strawberries or whatever, you know, nice stuff. This is the opposite. This is a pure performance wax. So should it really be in the Hall of Fame? Should the Hall of Fame be a bit more show orientated. No, the Hall of Fame is just what I think is an iconic wax, and this has to be in there. Now, it went viral in the UK and everyone was buying it and everyone was raving about Fusso coat continually because of that durability. And also people used to combine Fusso coat with Sonax BSD. These are like the old awesome Batman and Robin of the detailing LSP world. And you would get, basically for not a lot of money, you'd have this protection that mean your car would be like, you sprayed water at your car with a hose, it would bounce back and hit you in the head. It was so hydrophobic, and people loved that, and it was affordable. And still to this day, I might talk about that in another video, that combination is hard. It's hard to beat in terms of like protection and being able to see the performance. Now, what happens when you leave Fusso coat is this will start to haze up and become white, and it will harden. Any high lines of wax, which we've got there, high spots, will take a bit more buffing because we haven't sort of got a thin layer like we have over here, which is going to be easier. You can, with this particular wax, let's just talk about how you should use Fusso. Fusso is best used after full preparation because of its durability. It's a good baseline sealant wax. Because of that durability, it makes a great one. So if you ever fully wash, decontaminate, polish, that's a great time to Fusso. Can you just wash your car and slap some Fusso on top? Absolutely, and it will still give you good durability, but it's a good baseline product. Can you put it on, not, you know, use it a bit more casually, not wait 10 minutes for the full dry cure and just sort of put it on, let it just haze a little bit and buff it on the turn? Yes, you can. I've done that many, many times. Can you use it as a topper? Yes, you can, but the strong solvent system in it means it will probably strip or degrade. If you put a solvent-based wax on top of like some sort of form of protection, you let it sit there and dry out and cure, and then you buff on it, that microscopic layer of whatever's on there is going to get degraded and possibly removed. So it's a better baseline sealant. People are obsessed with kind of using Fusso and topping it. If you're going to top it, perhaps top it with Speed and Barrier, which is the same technology from Soft 99. So you can see here we're starting to get that dry cure now, which is really cool. And we're using, to buff it, the Zano Borderless Blonde. So what I'm going to do is just work that outside first so I don't miss any bits around the edge, which is a good little, it can be a good little tip, because your cloths are at its best when you start as well. So I've just got all the wax away from the edges. Here, there we go. This picks up this, using these soft cloths and doing this iconic wax series has really restored my love of the split pile microfiber. These Zano Borderless Blondes are so good. They're just really expensive, but here you can see us buffing this wax. Now, people are always reporting like problems with this. What's that? Have I got a scratch on my car? Is that a scratch? I've got a scratch. Big long scratch on my car. How the hell have I done that? Going all the way down there. It's not a deep one. I need a bit of polishing. Yeah, people were always reporting with this wax that it was difficult to buff. I never really found that. I think maybe it depends on what you're putting on. If you didn't have good prep, maybe you're putting it on something, it's breaking down what's on the surface and mixing with it. And then you're using a flat pile microfiber that's just like maybe, you know, going to struggle to pick it up. But for me, I mean, you can see like this wax is cured now, and you can see just like how easy it is to just like do that and get the finish. So I don't know about that. This is the old one. The new one's a bit oilier, but I thought the new one was probably even easier to apply. So I've never really had those problems with Fusso, but lots of people say, oh, it ghosts and you get this white thing and you've got to go over it and buff it again or get a detail spray. Just again, I think it comes down to the paint. If your paint's good and you prep it or whatever, and it's just nice paint, you're using good cloths, you know, maybe it's the sun or something. You can see here though, guys, where I said if you put it on like thick, you know, I buff over, you get that patch. So sometimes perhaps maybe a bit of that's going on. So just put it on thin is you know, a decent tip. In fact, yeah, that's probably what the only problem you might have is you put it on thick and leave it for like 20 minutes and then it can become difficult to buff. And I say difficult, It's just a matter of doing a couple of passes like that rather than just going like that. You know what I mean? You can see it there. So it's like there. And that's really it. Yeah, and it's probably, we got to the Fusso wax just before it got to that stage where it got really stiff. If we'd have left it longer and longer and longer, yeah, that scratch is really bugging me, that is. Oh, can you see right there? You won't be able to see it on camera. You won't be able to see it. It's so fine. That's a, oh, is that a reflection? That's a scratch. That's all the way down, man. From there, all the way from there, down to, where does it end? The light, I lose the light, all the way. Yeah, to here. So I'll just get a little mini DA and black hole that, and that'll disappear. Then I'll put the Soft 99 back on top. So it's pretty easy to apply, but yeah, not as easy or as idiot proof as some other waxes that you could just leave on there for days and they'll still buff off light. But it's, for a performance wax that lasts that long, I don't think it's difficult to apply. This surface now, this Hall of Fame thing, I'm not generally testing, doing all this like hydrophobic stuff, but like this surface, come on, why is the camera, there we go. This surface is so hydrophobic now, like I wasn't even expecting that little bead to go walkabout. Let's just bring you in. It's just so hydrophobic, and still to this day, in terms of like contact angles and all that sort of stuff, put some bogies on the car, you can't really get better contact angles. PTFE, this is some real dorky stuff. You'll like this, you'll like it. This one's for the dorks. PTFE can yield you a contact angle of up to 105 degrees. How do I know that? Once upon a time, I used to make waxes. That was the sort of stuff I researched, materials and contact angles. And indeed, the only other material I could find, although this was a while ago, that had better contact angles was fluorine, which could yield up to 120 degree contact angles. So fluorine was the ultimate. But hold on a second, isn't fluorine PTFE? Well, I don't know. Fluoropolymer, I don't know, it's probably in the same family, but there was some chart somewhere that told me that. So you could get up to 120 degree contact angles. Yeah, when you put this Fusso coat down as well, you know, don't get it wet like I just did, don't wash it or whatever, and just leave it and it will fully cure probably within a day or so, you know, and then after that you could wash it. Yeah, maybe a good tip as well is to use the soft cloths. What other dramas are we missing any of the history or the dramas with Soft 99 and the Fusso? I don't think we are. Just, it was a people's choice wax because it dispelled the myth. It was a big kind of middle finger to the myth that waxes didn't last and modern sealants were longer, and there was this cheap tub of paste wax, and every time a new product would come out that was a sealant from another brand or a wax or whatever, it would never last as long as Fusso. So I think the industry started getting fed up with being compared to Fusso. And still to this day, 10 years later, I can't think of like a load of products that have come out that can outperform Fusso in durability, which is really crazy because you'd think, with all this talk about sealants and, you know, sealants are better than waxes because they mechanically bond and they're more durable and resistant to chemicals and all this sort of stuff. But still, it doesn't, they never mention, whenever you hear that blurb about sealants and, you know, chemical bonding and technical stuff, no, they won't mention Fusso in the same sentence because this product outperforms it, and it's an ancient wax that was made and formulated decades ago. So technology hasn't improved in terms of being able to beat Fusso in durability and hydrophobic performance, okay? But maybe some people will be saying, yeah, but it's using PTFE, it's gonna kill you if you use this. The side effects will catch up with you in 10 years and you'll have like 3 heads and You'll end up saying the same thing 5 times in a row without realising it. You'll end up saying the same thing 5 times in a row without realising it. You'll end up saying... Sorry, stupid humour. So yeah, there we go, guys. Everything you need to know about Fusso Coat, an iconic, legendary performance wax that is in my top 10 Hall of Fame waxes. If you've not, if you want to see some of the other Hall of Fame waxes, first of all, subscribe to the channel. We've got about another 5 to do. Once we've done them all, we will test all of the Hall of Fame waxes on our test panel with our Gonio photometer and test hydrophobicity, durability, visual appearance stuff and all that clever stuff, and try and come up with a ranking or something. But we've talked about the problems with doing that, that some waxes in this Hall of Fame series have got no durability, no hydrophobicity, and they're in there for different reasons. So this whole Hall of Fame thing isn't based on sort of technical performance, if you like. So that creates all sorts of problems. But we'll do the test anyway, just for a bit of fun. I think you guys will appreciate that it's not all about which one lasts the most. If it was, then the Fusso Coat would undoubtedly win, I would imagine. The new Fusso Coat, built Hammer double speed, will give it a run for its money, I think, but it won't quite last as long as that. But I'm not sure, because every time you do a test, it can vary. Like, you can get slightly different results. But that definitely is the most durable kind of wax in a tin. That is probably still the most durable one that I've seen on the market, but maybe 10% or whatever. I haven't done a long-term test, but slightly less durable than that one in my opinion because of the oils, but doesn't bake on as hard, so it's got some advantages as well. That's it, guys. Let me know in the comments what your favourite waxes are and why. And yeah, I'm looking forward to showing you the next one. So we're doing like performance ones. Maybe I'll do like a more showy one next. I've got a couple of real favourites of mine that I'm itching to talk about because I love these waxes. Thanks for watching. See you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. We'll link all these in the description. Cheers. Bye now.